The Hen coming at you today to talk about manifesting your goals. So I'm sure everyone has heard, I know, woohoo, where's the yay? This is an exciting one. I love September because September to me is when the kids go back to school and my favorite season is fall. So it is rejuvenating. It's kind of like my new year. So I love talking about, we've had a nice little break over the summer and everything's kind of been a little lax, a little more relaxed. Most people have time to take vacation or you spend your weekends relaxing. And then September is like, okay, it's go time. Like, let's hit the ground running. So, and you can, of course, look at this in January as well, but this is taking your New Year's resolutions or your goals one step further. And so I'm going to do probably a lot of the talking, and then Renee's going to pipe in whenever she feels that she wants to add in, because I was like, this is my jam and I want to hog the mic just for a little bit. So I'm like, you talk about important stuff when you feel like I need to stop for a minute. Okay. So that's how we'll play this one out. But okay, so manifesting goals. And I'm sure by now, most people have heard of, read, or watched The Secret. And so now that everyone knows The Secret, why are we not all living our best lives? Wow, because there's a little bit more that goes to it. And I, before, learning all of this stuff, kind of fell into the same trap. I'm like, well, I know what I want, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm wishing it, and I'm wanting it, and I'm vibrating happy, and it's still not coming to me. So what am I doing wrong? So I'll tell you. I think probably let's pretend it's the beginning of the year. So if you want to use September or if you want to use January, I do like this idea, and I've heard it from quite a few of the gurus out there who pick a word. They pick a word that is what they want this year to represent. So that could be joy, it could be health, it could be energy, it could be wealth, and so what you want to do, if you pick a word of the year, you want to try and align your life to match that word. Well, how do you align your life to match that word? Well, you've all heard of SMART goals. So I'm just going to go over them. I have my little cheat sheet, never remember it. So specific, if you're going to have a goal, you want it to be specific. M, measurable. You got to measure out, okay, so how long is it going to take me to get to this goal? Attainable. Is this actually achievable? Can I do this? If you want to tell me that you want to lose 100 pounds in 6 weeks, no. Okay. Relevant. Is it relevant? Can you fit this into your life right now? Is this going to be a good time? I use weight and exercise and weight loss because I just find it so easily relatable. Everyone understands what I'm saying when I say, or we can use writing a book. If you want to lose 50 pounds or write a book. Okay, so is it a good time to write a book right now? Is it a good time to embark on a new fitness and exercise program and then healthy eating? Can you put this into your life? And then time-based, right? So are you giving yourself a realistic expectations? And when you start a goal and you have to have an end date, you can't just say, I want to lose weight and leave it at that. I'm going to write a book. Well, what kind of a book? I don't know. I'm just going to write a book. Okay. Well, and then if you give yourself a deadline, then okay, I am on track. I'm doing all of these little things to make sure that I hit my goal. So when you have your goal and you have your SMART goal definition of whatever it is you want to achieve, then we're going to start looking at, of course, okay, the woo-woo part would be your affirmations, would be changing your vibrations. So why we do affirmations, why we do vision boards, why we do goal posters is so that we are remembering, because it's easy to forget sometimes what we're trying to achieve, but you want to have that in your face, because what you want it to do is you want it to trigger a reaction inside your body that creates a happy thought, that changes your vibrations. I think I shared this last time, maybe not, or maybe that was when Renee and I were chatting. The movie Hook, when Hook is flying and he had to have a happy thought. And Jack is like, oh my God, Dad, like you're flying. And he's like, well, my happy thought was you. So that is the reason, is we want to change our vibrations so that we start to bring everything into our life and onto our path. But you have to align your life and you have to support yourself in achieving these goals, because you're manifesting them by changing your vibrations. Okay. You're looking at your vision board, you're looking at your goal poster, you're getting excited. You want these things to be coming into your life. You're happy, you're creating joy. Well, you kind of have to do a little bit more. You have to start adding your habits. You have to start, I'm thinking of my words, okay, tonight. You have to have all of your habits lined up to make sure that you are setting your life up for success. You can't just wish and hope and dream, and you can't just write out your goals 100 times. You need to start taking action. How do you take action? You create habits. Your habits are supporting you in becoming the best version of you. Your habits are supporting you in whatever word of the year you've chosen. Your habits are supporting you and aligning your life to becoming the new person that you want. Because ultimately, when we achieve a goal, you're stepping into that role. You're stepping into being a fit person. You're stepping into being an author. You're stepping into becoming whatever it is you want to become, because you're currently not that. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a goal. But it needs to be that important. You need to bring that version of you into the now. And the more you believe it and the more you vibrate it, you're going to start setting up your life successfully to achieve that. Mm-hmm. So I like to include something called, micro habits, which are just little things, that push us towards achieving our goals. And then habit stacking. So habit stacking is, maybe if you choose health, this is the year of health. While you're waiting for your coffee to brew, maybe you're doing some stretches. Maybe you're doing the sun salutation and you're doing a little bit of yoga. And so you're, starting to wake your body up with some fresh water, a little bit of stretches as you wait for your coffee to pour. Because if you know anything about Renee and I, we love our morning coffee. So, I mean, that's habit stacking. You're still enjoying your ritual of your coffee first thing in the morning, but then health is your word of the year. So what are you going to do to start bringing this in? So you can do just sun salutation, does not take long, like maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Or for me, I was like, okay, I really want to start reading a book a month. And I used to be able to do that, but life gets busy and I don't have time. And I cannot read at night because I pass out. So I bought Audible, and now I'm on the Stairmaster and I'm listening to a book while I'm training. It's brilliant, Or I know some people are like, oh God, I have this horrible commute. I got a, 45-minute commute to work and a 35-minute commute home, because usually it's faster at the end of the day. I don't know why that happens, but it usually is. So maybe you're listening, to your podcast. Maybe you're listening to the Two Healthy Hens. Maybe you're listening to an Audible while you're driving, or while you're cleaning the house. You pop your earbuds in, and if you're cleaning the house or cooking dinner and there's no distractions, then you can, kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But I'm always thinking of, how can I support myself? How can I use up all of my minutes in the day to be productive? And when you start habit stacking and creating your supporting habits around your goal, you get there.
Yep, absolutely.
Why don't you talk a little bit about adding hypnotherapy into achieving goals, stopping procrastination, because once the motivation dies, we rely on dedication and determination. And if you don't have that, like the motivate, because if you want to lose weight, if you want to write a book, let me tell you, 2 weeks in, you're going to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah. And it does. It's funny because I was just thinking about the hypnotherapy piece as part of this, because, if you go out and you Google, how do I manifest a goal? You're going to get all kinds of stuff. You got to meditate. You got to do this. You got to do that. But I think what they're all getting down to is exactly what you had said. It's more or less just incorporating this in. And with hypnotherapy, the nice thing is, for those of you that don't really know how hypnotherapy works, the hypnotherapist talks to the unconscious mind, the subconscious mind. So there's a wall between our conscious and subconscious mind. And we kind of have to break down that wall as a hypnotherapist to get to the subconscious mind. And how do you do that? By visualization, like getting you into a meditative state. How do you do that? You use visualization techniques. You're having, the mind actually just visualize whatever is being said. And then you get there, you kind of get into that trance, that state, that meditative state. And then once you're talking to the subconscious, you can then start giving some suggestions around, procrastination, getting rid of procrastination or getting rid of laziness. Or you can talk about whatever your goal is. If you want to lose weight, you can talk about. And what you typically do is you visualize the future state self, right? So like you said, stepping into whatever you want to be, that's exactly what we do in hypnotherapy. You are visualizing yourself already as that person. And how do you feel as that person? What do you see around you? What are you doing that you can't do now? What are you doing in the future? And you talk about it as if you're already there. And that's the cool thing. So it does dovetail nicely with manifesting goals. And it just helps because you're right. There is a point where you do have to kind of hunker down and do it. You have to do the work. You can't just, throw everything out in the universe and hope the universe is going to pay you back. You kind of have to do some stuff.
Yeah, it's a combination of magic and, all of the woo-woo stuff, and then strategy, and taking action. And I think that's where people get tripped up, is because they're like, I'm happy and I'm asking for this and I want it, and okay, bring it to me. But you have to align your life to get that. Yeah. And by aligning your life, then there's the visualization and the changing of vibrations, but then you have to do shit.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing, I don't know where I saw this. I don't know if it was on TV or a video or something, but it's a joke. It's a joke that's gone around. It's an old joke, I think, but I'm going to mess it up. But it basically is, somebody's like talking to God, right? God, I want to win the lottery.
Yes,
I need the money, right? I need money. Can you please? I want to believe in you. So show me that you are listening to me and help me win the lottery. And of course it didn't happen. And then, he's like, God, why didn't you do it? Well, then the voice of God came down. Well, you actually have to play. You actually have to play the numbers, right? Yeah. So I think it's kind of resonates because it's like, well, you're not just going to win a lottery if you don't play the numbers, right? So
yes, and that's where people get tripped up, because you have to have an action plan. And then your action plan needs to be reasonable and feasible and doable. And I think, taking small steps is a lot easier than doing something ginormous. And be gentle with yourself. And you have to celebrate the wins, because I feel that people don't celebrate the wins enough. They just kind of get like a little tunnel vision. But I think the most important piece of advice or piece of information that I could say is, it's your journey. So you need to do what's best for you. And, it's also creating your plan. You have to create it. You can have guidance, but I mean, me giving you a meal plan or me giving you a fitness plan doesn't mean crap if you don't do it, and you have to like it. So, and I learned that, I bought every freaking workout program on the internet, and I've hired coaches, but I end up doing what I like, because I will stay true to doing it, and I will be consistent when I'm eating the foods that I like and when I'm training the way that I like to train. And if I'm going to write a book, for me, it would be first thing in the morning, because that is when I have my creative blitz. But I can't, so it's knowing yourself. I'm not doing that right now, but if I were to, hypothetically, I have no desire to write a book right now. But maybe, down the road, that is something to consider. but these are just the things that I'm saying, you know, I can't think of what's another goal that people would want to do that we could, my point is making the path yours. You know,
Yeah.
there's so much advice, so much information on the internet. So many people have their own opinion. And I find that, you know, I could tell you what to do, but it might work short term. It may not stay sustainable because you need to find what works for you. And I think,
Yeah.
and that's a big part of being a coach too, is that yes, we encourage movement, but I don't tell you have to lift weights. You know, we don't tell you have to go to Orange Theory. You're never going to lose any weight if you can't go to Orange Theory. You know, it's finding the movement that your body craves. It's finding the little micro habits that you can put into your life that feel good. You know, if you don't want to wake up and drink coffee, then don't. You know, if you don't want to fast and do intermittent fasting, then don't.
Yep.
You know,
exactly. And, you know, and that's where we're all big on everything in moderation too, but you have to start somewhere. And I think one of the good things, you know, you want to have a support system as well for your goals, because, and it could be family, it could be friends, it could be coaches, right? Like, but the reason why is because number one, they will help you move along and get started, because sometimes it's overwhelm, right? If you like, oh,
and
I'm
paralysis
here, right? I'm here, I want to go way out here, I don't even know where to start. Sometimes just spitballing with somebody else helps, because people see things differently. So that's, you know, one of the biggest things that I've learned is just, you know, if you are stuck or you're like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, just talk to somebody, talk to anybody about it, and just say, I need your brain, I need to understand, because at least you get started, and then they can help you with the plan too, right? You can say, okay, here's what I'm thinking. And then there may be other ways to get there as well that may be easier.
Yeah.
So it's just nice to have that support system as well if you're going, you know, when you're going through this, for sure. And it doesn't have to be any specific type. It could be anybody that you're comfortable with, you know? So yeah, for sure.
So I would say, in wrapping up, get really clear, get clear on what you want, find a word that resonates with you, that you're like, yes, like I can do that. This is what I want to be all about. Set up your support system, and then, you know, start figuring out your action plan.
Yep, exactly.
And then you execute.
And then,
So,
and then
yeah, and then do it. And in that action plan, I invite you to use a little bit of spiritual, whether it's hypnosis or manifestation, vision boards, goal posters,
affirmations,
you know, affirmations. Yeah. So a little bit of that, and skill, like strategy sessions. So what are you doing to set yourself up for success, and how are you aligning your life to be what you want it to be? Because we set goals to either A, achieve something we've never achieved before, or B, to change what's happening in our life because we're not happy.
Yeah. And then if you hit that goal, that's another thing too, is that, you know, make sure there's other goals as well beyond that, because you don't want to just get to somewhere and you're like, hey, I achieved it. Okay, I'm done now. Especially like when it's around weight or something like that, because you can easily gain it back, right? If you want to lose 100 pounds in a certain amount of time, whatever, and you get there, you lost all this weight, and you're like, oh, well, you don't want to go back to where you used to be. So that's where these habits, micro habits, come in, is that along the way want to make sure you're changing who you are into that person, so you don't go back. So that's important.
That's evolution. We're becoming.
Yeah. And that's why willpower alone isn't going to work. You may use willpower alone to get to your goal, but then you haven't really changed as a person. So it's really important.
That, I'll share a little quick story. I may have shared this before, but I was kind of chunky after I had my 3 kids. And then I did a big diet program, and it was the first time that I ever like stuck to it 100%. Like I did not cheat, and I followed all of the food to a T, and I just worked out like when I could. at home. And I remember going out into the bars because it was like time to party way back when, when we could go to bars. And anyways, I went to the bar and I was wearing all black. And I remember like I had lost a lot of weight and I was in like sizes I had never worn in my life. And I went to the washroom and I came out of the washroom and I walked and I was coming to wash my hands. And in the mirror was this woman staring back at me and unrecognizable. So there is and I've been on this journey and I've been losing all the weight and I was so happy, and you can see the scale going down and your clothes are getting bigger and you buy new clothes and you're feeling sexy and you're feeling confident. But then there's just something like, I don't know, it's just, that was my moment where I was like, oh my God, I didn't recognize the person staring back at me. So that is something but that's why you want to have a coach, that's why you want to have that support, because that can be pretty scary. And you almost want to revert back because, you're used to being bigger, used to being safe. And it was a bit of a shock. So,
wow.
Yeah. And I've heard of that, but I had never experienced it. I was like, whatever, that doesn't really happen. Like everyone wants to feel better in their bodies and, like you're pain-free and you feel really good and you lost all this weight. But it actually, there is a little bit of a psychological check there. So, and I didn't have a coach, I was kind of, but that's one of the reasons why I became a coach, because it happened to me and I had to do a lot of self-talk, like when you're like, what the hell, who is that? So it was weird, but yeah.
Wow.
Something to think about. And I think that's one of the hurdles that people, definitely journey through, and you become a new person, as you're achieving these goals, you definitely become a new person.
Yep.
So, and then sometimes you get there and you realize you don't want this. I've achieved a couple goals in my life, and then I was like, and then like Renee said, I had done something, it was monumental, it was amazing, but then I was like, oh God, like the next step is even bigger, and I just worked my ass off to get here, and now I feel like I can't even enjoy it because there was something else to do. But do I want to enjoy it? Do I actually want to be here now that I'm here? And what are you sacrificing to get there? So there's many, many different things, but that's why the manifestation part comes in, because you want to do everything with grace and ease. You want to make sure that what you're bringing in is what you want. So that's why I go back to saying, get clear. And along the way, you might just find out everything you don't want. Yeah. And how much are you putting into this? And if you can stack your habits and create the micro habits and align your life with all of these actions, small little actions, and you're going along and everything's feeling really good and you're, looking better, feeling better, accomplishing more, then this is the path you're to be on. But if you're exhausted and you're, beating yourself to death trying to achieve this goal, is it worth it? And these are the questions that you have to ask. You kind of have these little checkpoints. That's the benefit of working with a coach as well.
Yes. And we have the tools. Yeah, we have little tools to help along the way as well when you because everybody gets stuck. Whatever their goal is, there's a pattern that happens that you get to the point where you're doing, and then you're like, oh my God, why am I doing this?
Yes.
I can't do this anymore. And then the self-sabotage comes in and all that stuff and the limiting beliefs and all that. So yeah. And that's where you really have to rely on your support system. You really do. And you have to really understand your motivating factor. Like, why are you doing this? Can you envision that person that you're becoming? Is that still the person you want to be?
Yeah.
Why are you visioning?
Why?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So
get clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty good today.
Yeah.
Short and sweet to the point.
Great.
All right.
See you guys.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.